the landscape has changed so much of like what's on an individual to do that now you can't just be a producer or a DJ or a videographer. You have to understand how to do all these marketing things as well in a whole new way than we did it in the MySpace days. Hey, this is the Seize the Day podcast. My name is Brandon Stewart, and if you are a creative and you're looking to step out from your 9-to-5 you have already and grow your personal brand, this is the podcast for you. And I'm joined today by my great friend, Sean P.
Yo, what's up,
Sean?
Hey, man, it's good to see you, bro.
Hey.
I'm so happy to have this big, luxurious mic, and I'm so glad that my voice sounds deep.
We do big things on this podcast.
Dude, I'm stoked to be here with you, man.
Yes. Sean and I have known each other for many years now, having met in the Dallas hip hop scene. And I actually think that all that stuff and everything that we've experienced through all our creative journeys has been to bring us to this point today to make this podcast together.
It's so cool that over this extended period of time, there's been times where we've gotten to work together in different capacities almost each time. And I'm so stoked to have your friendship and then your wisdom to help me out at this time.
You're so kind, dude. Too kind.
People are going to call BS on that.
No, but it's cool.
Yeah,
we're both in this place where we're doing more on the creative side. We still work a little bit in music, but then the landscape has changed so much of like what's on an individual to do that now you can't just be a producer or a DJ or a videographer. You have to understand how to do all these marketing things as well in a whole new way than we did it in the MySpace days.
Totally. And you know what? We were innocent and young. And it just seemed all so fresh and so new. I feel like in this stage of life, I feel like I have experienced more. I know a lot more, and the pressure feels a little different for me. I don't want to repeat the things I've done in the past, and I want to be able to be my creative self, but at the same time learn, because this landscape, I feel like there's an opportunity for me and how I approach my creativity that I could see new fruit, like new things. Like there's different ways to engage an audience before, right? It's like gain attention, sell a record. Yeah. Gain attention, sell tickets to a show. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The world is way different. You don't sell records, right? You know what I'm saying? And the shows are not how they used to be. Record deals aren't the same. And even like with music licensing and things, like nothing is exactly the same as it was for me in the past. And so there's a lot of turns to keep making.
Yeah. Are you wanting to just grow your personal brand more? Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, I've positioned myself always to work with somebody and help a brand, help an artist, help a church, help a brand, develop the artistic side of things, or even maybe help things come to pass. And so in this new season, I started thinking, well, what is it like for me to brand myself and to really take on the things I've learned from the little bit of marketing and the content creation and the producing. What is it? How could I point that at myself and my brand? And instead of always trying to bolster somebody else, I had some good friends tell me, "What if you tried that for you?"
Right.
and to be honest with you, like I really feel like my sweet spot is in the creative space, is in the collaboration space, is in the space where I'm helping and leading a team or just making something with somebody. But I recognize also that it's the same skills that I do that I could apply for myself. And I ultimately am a little scattered. I feel like, I've been making some creative content and it's been killing. And I kind of froze. Mm-hmm. And what I would love is to kind of imagine what the platform could look like for me in the near future. Mm-hmm. Because when I worked with a client, that we always kind of started with the end first. And I thought, what would be the end for me?
Like reverse engineer a roadmap of to like what you
at
want
least
to
to have a
ultimately.
game plan. Like no basketball team goes to a game without a game plan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And these are the things you learn. Like when we were young, we were doing things for the first time. We were making T-shirts for the first time.
Yeah.
We were getting people to shows for the first time. We were doing our recordings for the first time. But I've done that a whole lot now. And I've had successes. And so I felt like I've been able to brand myself, and I'm in the process of branding myself, and I feel very strong on the creative end, but there's a lot for me to navigate on the internet about how do I have a platform that I can monetize or just cultivate for longer term success. What does my roadmap look like?
Mm-hmm. Well, so hats off to you, because like the content that you've been creating, like those deep dives on hip hop culture and history and how the songs came together, like those are super dope. And I share them to other friends who don't know you, like, oh my gosh, like all the feedback is amazing. At the base level, content is the name of the game, because that's how we're going to reach new people. Because really, like when we're playing the marketing game, we're playing the attention game. Okay, so in 2022, how do we get attention? Well, we got to go on to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, depending on who we want to reach and what we do, what our skill set is, or what kind of, what we want to do. Where does our audience live on those platforms?
Yes.
Right? So 'cause that's one question people ask a lot. What platform do I need to be on? Right. But then now you have like the mid to late 30s that are on Instagram. And we got on Instagram when we were in our mid 20s. Yeah. And then now we've aged and grown up with it. Yeah. So there's a lot of what we do. There's going to be a massive sweet spot for on Instagram, because we're probably creating content. If it's a passion project, we're creating content for people that are in our own demographic. Okay. And so we're already going to be like on Instagram. Our people are going to be on Instagram. But if we're going for just an even broader audience, two different lanes, or a younger audience, depending on what the niche is specifically, TikTok is it. And TikTok isn't just young kids dancing anymore. Like TikTok is massive, and the search algorithm is getting better all the time. Yes. So, and the more time I spend on TikTok, I actually like it more.
Dude, same.
Because it seems to be more of like merit based as far as the rewards and the views. Yeah. Like, and you can speak into this also, like, as a content creator, as a marketer, there's always this balance of like, we want to create art, but then we know that we have to create a product to market for somebody. Yeah. But then how do we turn the art into marketing, and how do we keep the marketing art? Yeah, yeah. That whole balance.
Totally. You know what? One thing, you brought up TikTok, and I just got on TikTok several months ago, and it's done really well for me. And I have worked with the age group that started on TikTok, right? My daughter's on TikTok, but the high schoolers that have been on TikTok a little longer now, or that are just entering college, right? That generation, I'm so far removed from that generation now that literally, honestly, like I feel like they're hungry for my youth. And so like the 90s when I grew up is what the 70s was to me.
It's like the new nostalgia.
Yes. So like Dazed and Confused was like the illest movie to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so like Clueless is like the illest movie to some of these kids. Or you know what I'm talking about.
That's fascinating. Paul Rudd hasn't aged a day.
He has not. And obviously Clueless was very Noxzema commercial-ish, but the point was it kind of embodied all kinds of different youth culture in that one movie, right? And so all I'm trying to say is like, I feel like what I have to give as far as a cultural standpoint has a platform even for this younger generation. And in fact, I feel like they're hungry for it because they are the digital generation. And I grew up with physical things. And so that's what I do. I kind of lean into that in my content creation, and I'm grateful for TikTok because the way the reach is organic. It feels like what Instagram used to be like, and it's not yet really corrupted. And as far as it seems like what the people on there are hungry for, you're going to get that view. And so I feel like I know what food to feed people.
Yeah, because like really like artistic, like thought out content does really well. Like the other platforms like, like Instagram, it's so hard just to find something that like, if you're whatever like your deep niche thing is, you can't find it on Instagram. And I don't even think those creators, I think they left Instagram, and I think that they're on TikTok. Like you can find, like we were talking earlier, like not like taboo subjects, but like the deeper, more kind of the insider baseball subjects, like when it comes to things like in the Bible. Like you can find, there's all sorts of channels that create content on that. Or if you're into like paranormal or conspiracy type stuff, like that's not on Instagram.
Right.
Like all those people moved to TikTok.
Wow.
Because they're just letting people be creative and do their thing. But it's beyond that. Like if you're into making enamel pins or you're into hip hop history, like there is a home for that because they want really marketing wise from TikTok, they want the attention. And they're going to leverage, and because they're a business, they're going to leverage all that attention to push more ads. And so, but right now the fire hydrant of the reach and the algorithm is still wide open. Because to get more people to siphon off
that makes sense.
The creators.
And it always feels like it's just a matter of time for that to stop, but I'm not going to be negative Nelly. One other things I wanted to say is like even the younger audience, they are just so much more keen to digital ads and advertising. The ads that we consumed as a kid, those Saturday morning cartoons, like that's like when, as far as I know, it's like when ads became entertainment. You know what I mean? And it was super dope. But it's like it seems like the younger audience, dude, if it's an ad, like get out of here. You know what I mean? Like they can spot you a mile away, or they can take it or leave it. But all that to say is there's a wisdom or like a knowledge or just a filter that's different than my generation's filter.
Yeah, there's another level of street cred, and because you still have older advertisers calling shots, they don't understand the younger brain, so they're running with like a 2000 playbook.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Not the 2022 playbook.
Yes, exactly.
Because I believe that most things you see are ads.
Yeah, totally.
But 100%. But they're native ads. And so they work, and that's why they leverage influencers to do things, to put products out there. To where, it's not a commercial break because we're not watching commercials.
We're not. It's all a commercial. Because of how it works. One of the other things I had questions about is there are a lot of platforms. And especially because my interest and skill set is broad, there's a lot of platforms that want me to be on there. Meaning I would be a person, I could fit into that platform in some place. You know what I'm saying? So like Twitch versus what do I live stream? Like do I live stream to YouTube and then have that on my Patreon? Or do I go live stream full on Twitch and then have subscriptions on Twitch? Or do I nix that and do something else? Like now there's memberships on Instagram. I feel like there's so many roads to navigate as far as I'm interested in that content to create. I want to try these fields out, but as we both know, it's super easy to burn out. And you can start down this path of creating for your own brand and fizzle pretty quick because it's hard.
Yeah. So I think you try so the first thing that you would do is you ask yourself, what type of content can I create that I would be creating regardless if if I wasn't trying to build a personal brand, if I was just, you know, if it was just the 90s.
I'm such a 40-year-old to say I'm building a personal brand. That is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Anyways,
just
my bad.
Yeah, it's like Virgil said, everything is for your 17-year-old self.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. So what would the 17-year-old version of you be doing on a random Saturday afternoon with no pressure to do? Like, okay, what's the nearest thing I can get to that, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say it's like your video, like your hip hop videos.
Yeah, nerding out on records.
Nerding out, you're crate digging.
Yes.
You're reading the liner notes.
Yes.
You're going back and you're searching the history, and you're coming up like the one on Traveling Man. Like that was, I heard that song when I was so young. And so it was really cool because I found that song at a pivotal time when I was coming into hip hop.
Yeah.
And I just found out who Mose was.
Yeah.
And I knew the original song, like the
Peter, Paul, and Mary.
Peter, Paul, and Mary, but like Leaving on a Jet Plane. Who else?
John Denver wrote it.
I was going to say Dillinger, but it was Denver.
But nobody even really knew. That wasn't even the popular one. Peter, Paul, and Mary is the one who really took it off.
I knew it was funny. Like
you knew it.
Without even trying to be different.
Yeah.
I just knew the John Denver version. Okay, so one is establishing the type of content that you would be making. That's the easiest thing for you to make that you're passionate about, because you don't need, you're already passionate. You just got to build in that little bit of discipline to go and do it and make it. Here's the other thing too. You set a schedule for yourself. It doesn't mean you have to make one a day and feel the pressure, because there's a lot that goes into making these really dope videos, right? Maybe you just say, I'm going to do one a week.
Yes.
And then give yourself that frequency, but put it on a calendar. Like today, Monday I shoot, Tuesday I edit. Yeah. Wednesday I re-edit, or whatever the process is.
Yeah.
Break it up into chunks, but each day you're coming to it with a little bit different energy. You're fresh, and you're not burning yourself out, because we still got to go and do work and make money. Right. So once you kind of have that established, then I recommend this to almost everyone that's starting out on social now, is that make long form content for YouTube. And before you freak out and have a panic attack, long form content doesn't mean a 20-minute video. Okay. Long form content means 4 to 5 minutes.
Word.
Right? Okay. So because we can deep dive more, but when you start out on YouTube, what you really want to go for is completion rate of your videos.
You want the audience to watch the whole video. That's
as much as your video as possible.
Yeah.
And if you're brand new, they don't know you from Adam, they're not going to watch a 20-minute video.
Right.
Unless you're just like a genius and you're hot.
Yeah, or like Casey Neistat's brother, who when he came on Instagram, YouTube, his first video, I was like, subscribe. I couldn't hit it fast enough because his content was so ill.
Yeah.
But we know that's the unicorn.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm not a unicorn.
Yeah.
And most of us aren't. Yeah.
It's a funny kid's book. I'm not a unicorn.
Oh, I don't know it.
It should be. Make a note.
Got it. Mom, I wish I was a unicorn. Sorry.
Why am I ugly? Well, you're not a unicorn.
Or maybe you are. Just not a good kind.
But it shows that the sweet spot for length for YouTube videos starting out is around the 4.5 minute mark.
Yeah.
So the idea would be, so you can go a little bit deeper on a video. Yeah. Really get
in there. It's a little easier.
Yeah, because you don't have to think so truncated.
Yeah.
Right? And so you get a 4-minute video.
Yeah.
And then you go, well, you can't, but then you have to have an awareness of the different platforms.
Yeah.
You can't, no one's going to watch a 4-minute video on Instagram. Right. And I think 3 minutes is the limit anyway. But you have to build a brand. The better your brand is, the stronger your brand is, the longer the video that someone will do. Because I talk about this too, also, Instagram and TikTok, they're still passive platforms.
Right.
So when you log on and you start scrolling, you're not in control of what you're seeing.
Yeah.
So you have to create content that's visually stunning and arresting enough to go, what is this, right?
Yeah.
To make someone, and then you only have 5 seconds. right?
Totally.
And if they can see the length of the video, right? They go 3 minutes. They go 3 minutes, like, oh, 3 minutes. Ugh. Or even if it's like a minute, like, a minute, like people really, right? So it's this really weird thing where we hyper value a minute of our time per the platform. But let's just say, like, a dude, right?
Yeah.
And go, oh my gosh, like a minute and like whatever, right? But then that same dude will like bail on Instagram and then go watch 20 minutes
on YouTube
of messy clips or LeBron highlights.
I see what you're saying.
So one of these nuggets to think about is that platforms determine the behavior. Right, because that same person's going to complain about 30 seconds or a minute is going to go just like lose 20 minutes of their life or an hour of their lives on YouTube. So that's why anchoring your content on YouTube is such a power move, because people are already mentally prepared to invest time when they go to YouTube. And so then you take that 4-minute video and then you figure out a way, can I chop this up into, can I get 3 or 5 clips out of this? Right? Little sound bites. And then you distribute those. So you have YouTube at the top of the pyramid, and then you distribute down to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And then let those other channels attract more attention from you. And then you just you begin to create a cycle of, oh, okay, cool, this guy's cool. Let me check it out. Let me check out his profile. Right? And then you have links that track and click. And so you're going to start to create like your own funnel. It's bigger picture. We'll get more into it, but that's like that's the overview of a strategy there.
And like I'm somewhat familiar with that strategy, and ultimately I would like to be able to set myself up to know which highway I'm on, and one of the things I've heard from friends, and as I've approached all of this, is, there's a big talking point of products. Have a product. Products is really where it's at. I love making content. I feel like I have a skill set that allows me to think about reaching people and meeting them where they're at. And I can tell a story in a short amount of time, and that's a skill set I have. But when in the comments, when people are like, where's the podcast? Or they say, where's the Patreon? And I'm like, I just really like making this content. And so I see that and I go, this is what I'm hearing. Where's the product? Where's the product? And at this stage in my life, I understand that. And I would love to develop products for an audience. I'd love to capture an audience in a way that there's a community. And I thinking bigger than just making the content. Definitely understand making content, getting on a regular schedule, continue, don't stop no matter what is a thing. But I'd also feel like I'd love to feel like I have a path where I can say, hey, how about you subscribe to me on Patreon and I can do a live stream? And that's where longer form content, that's where my podcast is, or that's where I sell my samples, or that's where I develop the products that I want to sell. And that seems simple. I thought about it a lot, but it takes a lot of legwork to change your brain from just making content to going, this is a full force in itself. Like, this is a brand that is bigger than just one little video. Yeah.
So as far as products, I think products are great, and the nuance of what can be a product, because how you said in the comments, hey, where's the podcast, right? Which points us back to here. So, in the next episode, we can get in, like the next chapter, we can get into like finding the right product that makes sense, because you can slap a sticker on anything and sell it your product. But if you put your sticker on the wrong thing, it's going to cheapen your brand.
Totally.
So that's a great thing just to explore of, what actually is a product.
So that's why I'm so grateful to sit across the table from you, because you have an experience in marketing and data and all this information and stuff that I really have had a hard time caring about. Until now, I'm old enough to finally understand that I don't have to sacrifice my creativity. In fact, it's just going to only enhance my ability to reach an audience. And with that realization, I kind of freeze a little bit. So there's so many things that I feel like I'd like to learn about through the big picture, and then help me define my path to get to my ultimate win. So I'm hoping to find out a lot more about some of that information.
Yeah, so we're gonna set up just where, you know, if you're building a house, you start with the foundation.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna break down some concepts, and once you understand more, because we feel the pressure and the anxiety because there's a lot of unknowns. Yeah. And once you learn something, you're like, oh, it wasn't that hard after all.
Right. There you go.
So that's what we're going to get into, and like how, and there's the concept talking about compounding attention.
Okay.
And so like we're going to break that down and once you kind of like see the structure, it's almost like Neo waking up and seeing the Matrix, and then you see you see it everywhere. Hey, if you like this episode, be sure and check out the next one, where we're going to do a deep dive on compounding attention and understanding the mechanics of going viral and what to do if you are so blessed by the algorithm to go viral yourself.
Video production and creative design by View Creative LLC. Start your own video podcast today by visiting createyourview.com. For more personalized coaching and digital marketing, contact Brandon Stewart at celladoragency.com.